Welcome back, guys, to episode 3. Today's discussion is going to be tips for DIY. Tips for DIYers, or how to approach a car repair from a DIY's perspective. So this discussion topic idea actually came from a subscriber. And I appreciate it, and I thought it was a really good idea to do a discussion video on, and you know who you are, so thank you. I don't know if you want me to give you a shout out, but anyway, thank you. I really appreciate the idea. I thought it was a really good idea, so we're going to go ahead and discuss that today. Before we get into it, guys, I would just like to ask you guys if you guys could please go down there and hit that like button, as well as make sure to hit that subscribe button. It just takes a second. I've noticed I haven't been getting too many views on these discussion topic videos, and if you guys would like for me to continue them, it would really show some support, and go down there and hit that like button. So anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. So this is going to be tips for the average DIYer, or how to approach a car repair from a DIYer's perspective, or do-it-yourselfer. So what my suggestion, or my advice, or my tips would be, first of all, know your limitations. Let's say, for instance, you have an issue with your vehicle. First thing I would suggest is to do some research on it. Look for YouTube videos on your specific car or the specific problem you're having. Look for, now this is mostly mechanical. Let's just say brakes. Let's use front brakes as an example. So what you want to do, you want to research it. You want to look on YouTube, see how it's done. You want to see what tools are used. You want to maybe even Google it, look up some forums. Basically, just do your research on how the job needs to be done, what tools need to be used, or what tools you're going to need at the bare minimum, and maybe some torque specs. We'll get more into this in just a minute. So that's the first thing I suggest you do. The second thing is, make sure that you have the means to do it. And that means, do you have the proper tools? If you don't have the proper tools, are you going to be able to purchase the proper tools? Now, you don't have to purchase Snap-on, Icon from Harbor Freight. You can do Pittsburgh, whatever's going to work for your budget. But do you have the means to purchase the tools if you don't have them? Second of all, if you've done your research and you see what the job entails for your specific vehicle, are you going, knowing yourself, no one knows yourself better than yourself. So are you going to be able to have the patience to do it? Are you going to be able to basically just do it? Are you going to be able to do it? If you don't think you're going to be able to do it, then it might be something, or if you don't have the tools, it might be something you might want to leave to the professionals. That's my suggestion. So once you've done the research, you know what the job entails, you've researched the tools that you're going to need, you have that available to you, and you hopefully were able to find torque specs on the job that you're about to do. Once you have all that, you also need to think, what if something goes wrong? Do you have a backup car? Do you have a backup plan? If you only have one car to get to work every day, maybe it would be a good idea to maybe start the project on your day off. Because a lot of YouTube videos out there, even mine, to be honest with you, it looks like it's super simple, maybe 10-15 minutes long, but in reality it could take hours. A lot of editing and a lot of swearing and cursing. Because sometimes things just do not go your way. Even if it's a routine brake job, things can happen. Broken bolts, all kinds of things. So you just want to be aware of that. Do your research. I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest advice I could give is just do your research and determine yourself if you are capable or willing to see that job through. Next advice is brake jobs, for instance. Brake jobs, although might look easy and is relatively easy, you want to make sure you have confidence in yourself enough to do a brake job, or let's say an oil change. Now, those might seem very easy jobs to do. The reason why I'm saying to be cautious with that is because if you mess up with a brake job, you could potentially hurt yourself or hurt someone else, because brakes is a safety issue. So if you are not confident in yourself enough to do a brake job, you might want to leave that to the professional, because you could seriously hurt or injure yourself or somebody else on the road. And for a brake job, for instance, oil change. The oil is the life of your engine, and let's say you miss a step or you do something wrong with your oil. You don't put enough, you put too much, you don't tighten the drain plug enough and check it to where it's not leaking, or you double gasket the oil filter, whatever may happen. Now you're leaking oil, and now you have the potential of blowing up your engine. So maybe doing a job that could potentially be a safety issue or destroy your vehicle, maybe that's something you need to think about. Is that something you're willing to take a chance on? And it goes back to, do you have an extra vehicle in case if that vehicle you don't finish it or something goes wrong and it takes longer than expected? That's that would be another piece of advice as well. Is, do you have time for the repair, and do you have an extra car to compensate for if something goes wrong, and maybe you don't have a whole line of tools to correct the issue? So those are some things that I would suggest, some helpful hints. Other than that, so getting that out of the way, how to approach a car repair as a do-it-yourselfer. That's pretty much the gist of it. I would suggest doing research, be pretty confident in the repair or the job that you're about to take on. Make sure you have the right tools. Make sure you have time. Make sure you may have an extra car just in case if something does go wrong and you need to go get an extra tool or an extra part. You have the ability to do it. So some other suggestions. For instance, if you are going to be an avid DIYer working on your car, I would suggest investing in some tools. Doesn't have to be super expensive. It could be Harbor Freight's Pittsburgh. Most of their tools have lifetime warranty. You could do Icon. I would suggest Gear Wrench. Gear Wrench is, me personally, I feel like Gear Wrench is on the Icon level, if not better. And it's normally about the same price. Sometimes things are a little cheaper. Some things are a little bit more expensive. So that's my personal opinion. Also, a lot of repair shops, a lot of mechanics use aftermarket OEM information. So this repair information, that's where you could get torque specs, you could get like a flow chart of how to diagnose something or how to repair a specific part or item on the vehicle, and that's usually for a commercial. You have to have a special licensing and everything for that. but I know All Data has an All Data DIY. I have a video specifically on that. I used to use that before I became before I owned my business, and it helped out quite a bit. I would suggest it's a paid subscription. I don't know how it is now. I haven't used that for maybe 5-6 years now. But I know you paid so much per vehicle, and it was like a year or 2 year. I think it was 5 years. I think you had the subscription for 5 years. So if you're gonna have a vehicle that you're gonna work on quite a bit, I would highly, especially a newer vehicle. A lot of newer vehicle torque specs and all that kind of stuff is not really online. It's not really available. So I would suggest maybe looking into that if that's something. If you're really hardcore about maybe tackling your own repairs at home as a DIYer, get a subscription to that. And that's going to also guide you through other repairs, through other diagnostic stuff, electrical stuff, all that kind of things. I believe now Mitchell One has it. Mitchell is another OEM information that's available to commercial. But now I think they also have their own DIY subscription thing as well. Don't quote me on that, but... So that's another thing you can look into, and can aid you in your DIY repairs. So that's pretty much the gist of it, guys. I know I'm probably forgetting a lot of stuff. There's probably a lot more I could add, but I'm just winging it. I feel like that would make this a lot better than just trying to sit here and, have a bullet point stuff and kind of have this scripted. I feel like it's just better. Creates a better, just out of nowhere discussion. Also for, I also suggest maybe getting a scan tool. You don't have to get nothing super crazy. A lot of these scan tools nowadays, you can get something online for anywhere from 30 to 30 and up that does, it reads all codes. It gives you live data. Sometimes they even graph for you. And I think that would probably be pretty much all you would need. And that's another thing. A code reader or a scan tool is not, let's say a code reader is not foolproof. So if it gives you a code for a certain sensor, it doesn't mean, okay, that's the answer. Let me just go swap out that sensor. I'm not going to get into the whole realm of that, but that's just something also to note, because I know some sensors are super expensive and you're going to be just throwing the parts cannon at it. That just gives you a direction of where to go, which brings me into my next point is maybe learning the system, learning the vehicle system. Although there's so many different manufacturers and certain manufacturers do things a little bit differently, overall the general idea is the same, of the cooling, the braking system. Everything is pretty much the same on every car. It's just tweaked a little bit different. So learning that system will also help in doing diagnostic work, knowing how the system works and how it operates. When you pull a code, that just gives you direction to go towards. Trying to think what else. I feel like I'm missing a lot of stuff, but just to recap, if you're going to tackle your own do-it-yourself repair on your vehicle, again, it's good to do research the job you're going to be doing, the tools that you're going to need, the torque specifications or any kind of specifications that might be important to the repair, and knowing yourself and whether you have the ability to do it, the time, and also having another vehicle. So those are kind of important, and those are my advice to give. Hopefully I answered my viewers' question, basically. of how to, a discussion of how to tackle repair from a DIYer's perspective. I thought that was a really good question, a really good discussion topic, and I hope I did it justice. Kind of feel like I'm missing stuff and kind of rambling on, but hopefully I answered the question, and hopefully I did it justice. But so before we go ahead and end this discussion, one thing I do want to advise is for safety, guys. If you guys are going to attempt any kind of car repair on your own, please do it in the safest way possible. Make sure you guys are using wheel chocks, jack stands. Make sure you're using multiple jack stands. Make sure you shake the car if you're going to have to go under it. Just make sure you guys are being safe. I can't stress that enough. That's probably the biggest advice I can give, is approaching these car repairs safely and smart, because this can injure you and or kill you. So please, guys, make sure you guys are being safe. Make sure you guys are wearing eye protection, ear protection, a mask if you're dealing with certain stuff, chemicals, brakes, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you're pumping the brake. There's a laundry list of stuff I can advise of safety issues, but it's just not feasible. You just have to really make sure you're being safe, use common sense, and just be safe out there, guys. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I feel like I'm missing some stuff. If anybody has some other advice or tips that they want to share, go ahead and put it down in the comment section. I would be interested in hearing other people's advice and tips on this, as well as seeing other people's train of thought. So anyway, guys, I thank you. Make sure to please go down there and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. A lot of my views are coming from non-subscribers. And if you guys would like to continue these discussion topics, please go down there and hit that like button. These videos are not getting a lot of views or likes, so I would like to keep doing them. But if I'm not getting any positive feedback, then we're going to go ahead and just stop them. So anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and end it there. I'm pretty sure you guys are tired of hearing me by now. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys liked this discussion. If you guys did, go down there and hit that like button. And until next time, guys, have a good one.